are you?
Who am I?
Why are you here? Why am I here?
Yeah. Why are any of us here? We're All Natural Pet Supply. We're just a group of people who really love pets. We're not veterinarians. We're just interested in this pet space and trying to create healthier lives for our animals. And we wanted to share some of our
Share some of it.
We wanted to share some of our experiences and some of the advice that we hear coming out of the natural pet world that I think doesn't necessarily always get the limelight that it should.
And some controversial issues.
And apparently some of these things are a little bit controversial. We didn't quite expect that to be the case, but we're just doing the best with the resources we have and
asking questions.
And we're learning along the way as well. Yeah, so today we are going to chat about heartworm. And if we have time, we may also talk about other worms. Worms. What a fun topic. If you're talking gardening, we love the worms.
Red wigglers. Best.
Yeah.
Love
yeah.
them.
Yeah. But when it comes to our pets and our homes, we don't really love those little critters hanging out.
No. Mm-mm. No one wants a pot-bellied dog. Because that's a sure sign of an infestation.
Yes.
But let's go back to heartworm.
Yeah.
We'll start with that.
Yep.
So would you like to explain what a heartworm is?
A heartworm is a worm that basically the way that it travels between animals is by mosquito. So a heartworm infected animal, dog, cat, it's not really prevalent in wildlife, but it's possible. Anyways, they get bit by mosquito. The mosquito flies around for 2 weeks-ish, up to a month. Jury's kind of out. They say at least 2 weeks, could be up to a month, for the heartworm. What do they call it? It's a stage before a larva. I don't know if I wrote it down.
Is it the microfilaria?
Yes.
Well, that's within the animal itself. This is why heartworm is such it's confusing because it's a lot of stages. It's a lot of timing.
Yeah.
You have to have the right mosquito. Mm-hmm. You have to have the right temperature. Mm-hmm. You have to have it in the mosquito, has to have bitten.
Mm-hmm. The mosquito has to be in proximity to other animals.
There's a lot of but to take it totally seriously, because you just Google heartworm and you'll see this nasty ball of worms that could come out of a heart. So in all seriousness, it's like
it's gross.
It's super
bad.
Gross.
Yeah, and everybody's seen those dramatic cases on the internet of cutting the heart open after an animal has died, and it's just packed full, like a baseball full of gross worms. But yeah, it has to travel around in the mosquito for 10 to 14 days to develop into the
I think it's the mycofilaria, but that might be what we're testing in the dogs too. Yeah. I think it's basically...
Well, on the heartworm website, that's what they're calling it at that stage. And then, the mosquito bites your dog or cat, or whatever their host choice is. And after they bite, the little hole that they leave, the heartworm little baby, we'll just call it heartworm baby.
Yeah.
Crawls into that hole. So gross. Here we are. And then it travels through the muscles and stuff for a while, actually, before it enters the bloodstream, and then travels to the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a lot going on.
It's a lot. Yeah. And there are a lot of steps in that process. Like, depending on where you live, in our area, that mosquito is not active until like the mosquitoes are probably active in our area like March through late October.
Yeah.
And so the question is, like, should we be giving heartworm preventatives year round if the period of time where they can get heartworm is, only a part of the year? And then how do traditional heartworm preventatives work?
Well, my response would be no, because it is a poison.
Yeah.
That we're putting in. It's not really a preventative. I think we need a new marketing term. Mm-hmm. But it markets itself well. Mm-hmm. That's why they use the word preventative, because it's not preventing. It's basically killing the last month's potential larvae in your dog or cat. So you're putting a poison to poison the heartworm so they don't grow beyond. Yeah,
and like just like we had talked about with the fleas and ticks, the the preventatives for heartworm are governed by the EPA because they're classified as a pesticide. And but what's different between a flea and tick preventative and a heartworm preventative is that flea and tick is actually like trying to stop the biting and the living on the animal.
Right.
But heartworm, on the other hand, is basically, it's a monthly, like, your options are like a monthly pill or an injection. And I guess the injection probably would like kill if there are, or I mean, I think the injection does last longer. I don't think it's after the fact, but the pills are, it's basically like every 30 days you give a pill and it kills all of the little heartworms that are still in the muscle meat. Mm-hmm.
I know.
I hate that I just said muscle meat because I'm thinking of like muscle meat's like what we feed our dogs. But no, like in your dog, their muscles, the little worms they're not worms at that stage, but the larvae, any that have gotten in there within the last 30 days, that's what you're killing when you give that preventative. So with I'm losing my train of thought.
Sorry.
We're going deep real quick.
You were talking what the poison versus flea and tick being an insecticide. How does EPA cover the heartworm poison, basically?
Yeah.
So it's slightly different in that sense, but it's still...
they're different, but yeah, they're similar. And so like, if you look at... I'm just like, I
Sorry.
can't...
I thought I was scooting you down the path.
You had it, and I had my thought, but then it disappeared. Thank you for hanging in there while we get over our jitters and our nervousness, because if me and Kat are in the store just chatting, we could probably have this conversation and it would continue for the full day. So we're not running out of things to say.
It's true.
We're just running out of ways that we
can
say them.
Well, I think that kind of covers maybe though the life cycle of the heartworm within the pet.
Yeah.
And so the quote preventative monthly, I think, just the one that's deemed the most safe is the interceptor. And I think that's the one dose. It's one poison,
It's the monthly.
And it's
oral.
a single versus a multi dewormer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not sneaking in like the tapeworm, the roundworm, the whole plethora of worms.
Yeah.
Which is a bit much to be either injecting or giving your dog. at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So most holistic vets are saying if you need to go the full force route, go interceptor.
Okay.
So that might be something to discuss with your vet if you're conventional or holistic and you're in, because some of the areas around the U.S. are just, it's a pretty black map of where the heartworm is prevalent versus the lighter areas that are showing
if you're curious,
low risk.
You can go on the American Heartworm Society's website, and they have a map that will show you how prevalent heartworm is in your area. And they have a little like cheat sheet with the life cycle of the heartworm and all that stuff. So if you need a visual for like how we're explaining this, because we might not be great at explaining it, that's a really great one to look at. But one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, is our area, Clark County, out of Washington, is a little bit darker on the map. It's a little bit like a few more cases than the rest of Washington and Oregon. And I have a belief about it. I think it's because we actually bring in a lot of dogs from Texas. And Texas has high heartworm. And so I think a lot of dogs that we bring up here for rescues, like they're not necessarily like spreading it or anything, but they get into the rescue and then the rescue tests them for heartworm. And when they test a positive, they have to report that.
Right.
And so like, I think that's the theory. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll take it. But
I agree with that. That was actually my thought because we have so many coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, which is great. Yeah. Like we have more people adopting dogs than we have loose dogs or dogs given up or whatever. So I think that's an awesome thing for our area.
And it's not like testing positive is not a death sentence.
No.
There's that's one of the more preventative, I guess, air quoting a lot lately. I stop that. But testing and getting the antigen test to see if you have a dog that's positive, and then you can take
and I guess to round out that life cycle though, like when the heartworms get into the heart, it's not immediately like that picture you see online. It's not immediately just like stuffed full. It's like a dog that looks like that has had heartworm for a long time.
It's like up to 12 years? Or no. It's, I think, 6 to 7 years it takes that to develop into that level of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Heart spaghetti. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are our options for natural? What are your thoughts?
Well, number one is keeping your dog's immune system and your dog and cat healthy.
Yeah.
I got to throw cats in there. They're less likely than the dogs, or more common. Mm-hmm. Indoor cats are not as, they're indoors.
Yeah, there's not as many mosquitoes indoors.
Inside, right? So a healthy dog with a healthy immune system is going to do a lot better against naturally just their body taking care of a lot of this going on. Mm-hmm. Worms in general and just parasites in general. So feeding species appropriate, getting them on healthy, fresh food, mm-hmm. Getting them off the processed as much as you can, mm-hmm. Exercise, rest, the whole general, everything we should do ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So number one, healthy dog. Number two, I think just preventing mosquito bites. Mm-hmm. Talked about it last episode in terms of just general flea, tick, and mosquito prevention is mm-hmm. you can do a lot of herbal sprays, using Bob Goldstein's internal medicine, so it makes them less likely to want to be bit. Mm-hmm. I've seen that firsthand with mosquitoes. Topicals in terms of essential oils. There's lots of easy ways to spray on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like a lot of that stuff too, like if you're the thing is like we don't hang out in highly mosquito infested areas. Like if you're out and there's a lot of mosquitoes, you're going to want to go home if you're getting bit a lot.
To be there.
So it's like, you know, if you're going to be applying something for yourself so you're not getting bit a lot, do the same thing for your dog. And yeah, if it's too much for you, it's too much for your dog.
Totally. And luckily, like the hairy dogs are going to have their best defense is their hair.
Yeah.
The poor little hairless guys and the little, you know, be a little bit more concerned with the Chihuahuas, the pitty breeds,
Yeah.
They got a little more skin showing.
Yeah. Little naked dogs.
Little naked dogs. But yeah, if you can't stand being at and basically avoiding the standing waters. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of ways to actually kind of help your backyard too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In terms of plants, you can be planting rosemary,
lemon balm.
Basil's good about what I just said, rosemary. Sage is another one.
Uh-huh. All of the stinky herbal plants. Like, honestly, like, the stronger the smell of the herb in general, like, the less the bugs like them. So just like plant yourself a beautiful herb garden, and then you can go out there and pick the fresh herbs, and then just rub them all over you and your dog.
Totally. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's gonna help. And then also, like, I actually I just thought of this. Doing the Wondercide yard spray is a really good one. You can Wondercide has like these things that you can like connect onto your hose, your garden hose, and
our Hazeldale store has one in stock right now.
Yeah,
if you need it.
Okay. Yeah, and like they will have them in stock in the other stores. And we go through winter and we like kind of forget like, oh yeah, this is like really amazing. Because in the winter, who's gonna hook something up to their garden hose and just spray over the snow? Be like, oh, I'm getting rid of the mosquitoes.
And you don't need to yet because it's still too cold.
It's still too cold.
We haven't. I don't think we've actually gone above the 57 degree yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so
today,
and that's like 57 degrees is like the mark for mosquitoes and then heartworm as well. So I wrote down, so mosquitoes will die or go into hibernation at 50 degrees. And then heartworm will not continue to grow at 57 degrees. So it's like if any time during that 2-week period where the heartworm is in the mosquito, if it drops below that 57 degrees, the growth of it just stops.
Halts.
Just pause. So mosquito might die during that period, and the heartworm never moves on.
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
That's why, as much as the gardeners hate that last frost, we need some frost.
Yes.
To like let the mosquitoes hatch, frost it out, and just
kill
death.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that this is a good year. Like that we wiped out a lot of mosquitoes with this nice, warm, beautiful weather where everybody starts their seedlings for their garden, and then it snows. So that's I think that should be a good one for the mosquitoes this year. It kind of kills off more of the population.
Totally.
But yeah, typically for us, it's like it's not till like March until it gets warm enough for the mosquitoes to start hatching. So yeah, if you're on a traditional or a natural preventative, like just start it in March, and then like when it starts to freeze off in the fall, like then you can go off. You're not going to catch anything. I mean, there's going to be some exceptions, like if there's like a warm puddle right next to your house and the mosquitoes might hatch, like there is going to be some like breakthrough stuff for sure. But we live in a really low risk area. A healthy animal should not, like, they should be able to deal with the heartworm before like it even like gets to the heart, and then B, like before it like multiplies enough to really cause an issue.
Right. In terms of internal, there is a couple products out there. Mm-hmm. Natural Clean Heart.
Clean Heart by Amber Naturals.
Amber Naturals.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So that one, I mean, this is what's interesting to me is because I've always lived in low to no heartworm zones. Mm-hmm. And now that we're seeing, I agree, like the heartworms popping up via the Texas dogs or other rescues maybe coming in, and maybe some change in our environments. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Like, it's, bugs and pests, like, they learn how to evolve and how to move, and, like, we're seeing more and more ticks. They're gonna
we're all gonna get to deal with stuff that we never thought we'd have to.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Or move. I don't know.
Or move. We're all gonna be like in Alaska. Be like, nope, no.
I think Alaska's the only state that doesn't have
heartworm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even on the map.
It's not on the map.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Never gets warm. It's never above 57 degrees.
Well, it's interesting though, because like even like northern Maine is still like the same level of risk as we are. But I don't know. I think East Coast gets a lot more like travel.
It's the standing water up in Maine. Yeah.
So yeah, we like many like holistic veterinarians and stuff are they're just recommending to just test regularly.
Like usually it's like a like twice a year test. So you test after I think it's like 2 weeks or 3 weeks into the time that it's possible after that 57 degree. Mm-hmm. And then you test before you go into the winter season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes
time.
And it takes months for the heartworm to even make its way to the heart. So if you catch it at any stage, I mean, even once it's into the heart, like as long as it's not, there's a difference between a heartworm infection and heartworm disease. Heartworm disease is when you have an overload, and that's when it's pretty serious to try to get rid of it. But yeah, that takes years, like over 6 months. 6 months is the normal cycle of the heartworm. But yeah, like to get to that late stage, it's been undetected for quite a while. And before you get on any sort of heartworm preventative, you should be taking a test. Just because if you are giving a preventative, if you're giving something that is strong, you don't want to have mass die off, because then the little pieces of the worms can travel through the blood vessels and clog them up, cause all kinds of havoc.
Coronary issues and pulmonary,
stroke, like
right.
anything. Yeah.
Anything. And you wouldn't know.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So get a test, make sure that it's like not like a full heartworm.
Or did you catch that you have to test for the female heartworm? There's no male test.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and the female is actually like the female only exists once it's actually in the heart.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
And it was the typical test for heartworm is like a blood draw. They squirt it in a little thing, shake it up.
10 minutes later.
10 minutes tells you. That one is actually not necessarily recommended.
I think it's the more common one, but I think it can test false.
Yeah, false negatives.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other one, I forgot what it was called. But yeah, the other it's a blood draw. And you send it off to the lab, and then the lab will actually like look for the little
microvillia.
Yeah, pre-larva little heartworms, and those will then they'll be able to tell you like, okay, like you have heartworm, and they can tell you like whether it's just in the muscles or if it's like actually in the heart.
What the next step is.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, for natural options, the biggest thing is just supporting their immune system. So if you think about like your animals out in the wild, like even in these highly heartworm affected areas, there is still wildlife, and the wildlife is not dying off because of the heartworm. And so, I mean, obviously there's going to be a genetic factor. Like there is quite a bit of diversity within our pets. But I mean, they're only 2% off from wolves.
Right.
And so like, what's the wildlife doing different than what we're doing with our pets?
Eating species appropriate food, exercise, staying healthy, not being exposed to a lot of chemicals environmentally and what we're injecting. Tack on just general toxins that are in our human-made environment that put a load on all of us, dogs included.
Yeah. Speaking of injecting, I don't I don't know if we talked about, but like that is an option that is available for a heartworm preventative from your vet, and injectable. And I would say be very, very cautious with that, because with an injectable, once it's injected, you cannot remove it from the body. If it's something that's consumed, like there's like things you can do to detoxify, like if your dog has a reaction, anything else like that, like there are ways to clear out the digestive tract. But if it's an injectable and it's injected into the muscle, once it's in, there's no going back. So if your pet does have a negative reaction, you're pretty helpless. I mean, I don't think the negative reactions are common. If they were, the FDA wouldn't be putting it out there. But I just think it's not a great idea to be
I don't think it's
doing
a great
it anyways.
idea.
Yeah. And especially if you're in a low risk area. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against the FDA, but I'm not sure that a lot of the pet is on their radar. They got a lot of their own fish to fry with a human.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, in just terms of support beyond food, if you do live in these areas, or you do need to occasionally have your dog on heartworm preventative, going through that whole detoxing with them, support, whether it's milk thistle, dandelion, parsley's thyme. Like there's other herbs you can give them.
Yeah.
And supplements that will help.
Yeah, help the liver process what you're
through,
throwing at them. Yeah.
I mean, you could do that monthly just as a overall detox for your dog. Detox is kind of it's not a great, but you're supporting the organs they can do their job properly.
Support the detoxifying organs.
Organs, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a little buzz thing of like, detoxification.
Yeah. I'm going on a juice cleanse.
Please don't do a juice cleanse.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. There's a difference. Yeah, we're not. You can't. Yeah, you aren't detoxifying your body.
We are supporting the organs that do the detoxifying of our body. So. Milk thistle, dandelion are the two that are like really easy.
And available as well. Like really easy to find.
I mean, everyone's got dandelions.
Oh yeah.
Go chop some of that up.
Yeah. So, when we're talking about natural options, like, the biggest thing is supporting their natural immune system, and then like their natural detoxification ways. Because honestly, even if, like whether you're on any kind of preventative, natural or conventional, it's still the way that you are getting rid of heartworm at whatever stage it's in is it has entered the body. Now you're killing it.
Yeah.
And whether it's the natural immune system of the animal or whatever you're putting in there to kill it, that's still the body has to get rid of that waste. And so supporting the systems that clear that waste out is going to be beneficial. And then the natural herbal preventatives are going to be things that are like supporting the heart, supporting the liver, supporting just general immune response kind of stuff.
Right.
And what's the word? Secrete like
I don't want to say it because I'm not sure what you're after.
I know, like, because I was reading the Amber Naturals one, and the one the herb that they were using
wasn't hawthorn. Was it? I did look at it.
Was it burdock? I think it was burdock. It was supporting the heart, but then it was helping like the secretions, like the pathways to
like
clear.
Our arteries.
I don't know.
I'm not helpful.
Yeah, that's okay. I lost the words for it, but yeah, basically like to help flush things out of the system.
Keep it all moving.
Yeah, keep it all moving. Yes,
yeah,
healthy movement within the body. The secretions. Yeah.
No, you're gonna make me wonder what that word is. Healthy. We'll come back to it.
Yeah,
it'll pop in a head.
It's one of those herbal words that, like the functions of the herbs. Yeah, I know we're not gonna get there. Like we're not gonna figure it out. But yeah.
Well, I'm excited to have it in the store. We'll do a little bit more on the specific herbs that they use because they're familiar, but they're just not herbs that generally are found in like even human supplements. It's like these are things you seek out specifically for heart health and pesticide or not pesticide. Parasitic control.
Yeah. And it's I know that they use like black seed oil in there as well, was like the main ingredient, which I think is like more so like omegas and like just like
the black cumin seed. Cumin?
I think it just said or black seed oil. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, in like with the natural stuff, like it's gentle enough too that it's like, I mean, if there is an infestation going on, like you are less likely to get like a mass die off in it.
Did it have black walnut? Is that one of them?
I know
that's used, and that's one that is used also in just general deworming.
Yeah, the Earth Animal one has that as main ingredient as well.
Yeah, so it's one that like I wouldn't just give black walnut randomly because it's definitely one that at a high dosage can be toxic, but at the right dosage can be extremely helpful to prevent heartworm and just general internal parasites.
You know what else it had in it?
Garlic.
It had garlic. Another supplement with garlic in it.
The garlic comes up again.
Yep.
I still couldn't find a holistic vet or holistic medical practitioner that doesn't recommend garlic because it is so beneficial.
Yeah.
At
everywhere.
The right dose.
Yes, at the right dose.
The poison is in the dosage.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Everyone needs to chill. I'm not saying give you 20 cloves of garlic. It's a very little amount.
Yeah, and it's an open conversation. If like we do end up finding like more information and we're wrong, like we'll fully admit it, but I don't know. There are like every holistic veterinarian that I have like been to or heard on a podcast, seen anywhere, they're recommending garlic. And it's in so many foods and supplements and things like that. And like, some pets, for sure, like, I mean, every pet is different. There are going to be cases where it's not going to sit well with some or whatever else. Like, it's like, that's normal.
It's like saying, I mean, there's a lot of research showing coffee is so amazing for us, but if you don't like coffee or it doesn't sit well with you, don't drink it.
Yeah. And yeah, there's definitely, I mean, there's also research that says that coffee's bad for you.
Seriously. So do what's right for you and your pet.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
But generally speaking, garlic is one of the number one overall immune boosting, anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
Has some studies showing it can kill amoebas and hookworms. It's a no for cats. Don't give it to cats. Not saying that.
Yeah. So so last week we touched a little bit on worms, roundworm, tapeworm, hookworm, all of the whipworms. Yeah, all of the gastrointestinal worms. So with those guys, they enter. Well, actually, they can they can come from mosquitoes as well.
They can come from mama through the placenta. They can come through mama through breast milk. You can step on them and have them enter with the hookworms.
Yeah, basically, they're just coming at
poop
from all angles.
Dog eats poop.
Yeah.
Your dog's a high risk for having another round of worms.
Community water bowls are a great way to spread worms.
Yeah, right.
Dog parks.
So people need to pick up their poop.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't think your dog does, your dog may. Just pick up your poop. There's no need to spread the poop.
Yeah. So yeah, with the worms are just all around us, everywhere, all the time.
And they last a long time out of the host.
Yeah.
Like roundworms are months, hookworms months to years, but and tapeworms months. A whipworm can live out of a host seemingly dead, and 5 years later it can come back to haunt you.
Yeah. So, I mean, is your dog going to get worms? Probably. Yes.
Did your dog have worms as a puppy?
Yes.
Probably.
Most puppies just they have worms. Like it's normal to, like, when your puppies are like right in that like 6 to 8 week range, deworm all of the puppies because they've all got those little pot bellies on them and they're just full of worms.
They look so cute until the spaghetti comes out.
Also, if you're seeing worms come out of your pet, if you have not given something that will kill the worms, that means you have a very high load of worms in your dog. You have a lot that need cleared out. But if you have given a dewormer of some sort and you see the worms coming out, that's a good thing. You shouldn't freak out and say like, oh, the dewormer didn't work, there's worms in the poop. It did work. That's why they're coming out.
My very first dog, day 2, I had that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Both ends.
Yeah.
That was my intro into dog ownership. Day 2 with my puppy.
Yeah.
Spaghetti everywhere. Like, no.
And the rescue had dewormed him before they gave him to you?
I got my first dog from a little farm kid selling her for $25. It was an accident, so hadn't got to the vet yet. Starting my first job at a restaurant, it was just like the whole thing was panicky.
So gross. Yeah.
But once you deworm, it doesn't mean that in 2 weeks your dog can't just pick up more worms, because it's a one and done. It will like deworms for a few hours and then it actually processes through the system. So really a preventative in deworming or preventing any sort of infestation of sorts is actually it's all good stuff. You can use, again, garlic. That will help maintain a level of no worms. Again, healthy immune system. There's a few things that like are a little like, mentioned the black walnut. You should be at a higher level of knowledge to be using some of that stuff. But like pumpkin seeds, Roundup is a great one.
Do you guys have the OC freeze dried pumpkin?
I have to get, yes and no, yes, we will.
Yes.
I have some other pumpkin that has to make space.
Oh, okay.
But it's available.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So OC Raw makes this blend that's freeze-dried pumpkin and ground up pumpkin seeds. So like the just the pumpkin meat is a great soluble and insoluble fiber. So if you have any issues with constipation or loose stool, the pumpkin can kind of help balance that out. And then the pumpkin seed is a natural dewormer.
So good.
Yeah.
It's obviously not pumpkin season, but come fall with all those extra pumpkins, just dry your pumpkin, save it, stick it in the blender, and you've got potentially months supply of your own fresh pumpkin. Or honestly, like any squash, all squash seeds are edible. So just
oh shoot, there was something. I was reading something and there was another seed as an ingredient in there that I had to look up because I hadn't heard it before, but it was same thing for a dewormer, but I forgot what it is now. So all kinds of seeds.
I feel like that struck a memory chord too, but I didn't write it down either. Papaya seed.
That might have been it.
That was one of them. That you don't need to dry. You can actually just use the papaya seed on almost all of these that we'll end up mentioning. It seemed like everything was like a quarter of a teaspoon for every 10 pounds was like the common theme of how much you should add to.
Yeah. And then like the heartworm stuff too, like any of the, like if you're using the Amber Naturals heartworm stuff, or like if you have there are other brands out there, that's just the one that we're familiar with. Those are going to help with intestinal worms as well, because it's the same. There's going to be some heart specific ingredients in there, but it's still going to be like anti-parasitic kind of stuff. And so it's going through the digestive tract, and it will take out your other regular worms as well.
And there's a surprising amount of really good holistic companies that have either a combination of anything we mentioned that are specific for deworming, like Earth Animal does drops called No More Worms. I know Dr. Connor Brady has his own product. I think Judy Morgan has her own product. Like if figuring out how to like blend up your own pumpkin seeds or papaya seeds, or pomegranate seed was another one for tapeworm.
Okay.
Then you could just actually come to the shop and we'll track something down for you. Yeah. Or we have it already in the store. Pretty easy to just measure out, plop in your dog's food.
Yeah. Yeah, because honestly, like with most, like with worms of all kinds, I mean, heartworm is a very low risk in our area, but with everything else, it's managing how heavy of a load it is. It's like, it's not a question of if your dog is going to get them, or a cat. It's just a matter of managing, making sure that the infestation isn't the right word, but like the,
you said it, then I have infestation.
I know.
In my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's managing the load.
Yeah. Yeah. The pesticide. Yeah. They're getting the parasitic load. Yeah. Because I mean, it can, like, if it is a large amount for a substantial amount of time, it is going to tax your other organs. It's just. It is.
And depending on which worm it is, beyond the heart, like, let me consult. Because I know, like, roundworm, that's or hookworm. One of them's, like, hookworm's anemia, because they're sucking the blood.
Yeah.
Roundworms, you got malabsorption. So you're going to see signs of what's happening when, like, lethargic dog, losing weight. Tapeworms, more classic with the rice in the poop, but they're like bothered by their butt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Scooching. Coat looks not great. Yeah. They start looking like an unhealthy dog.
Yeah. So I mean, if your dog has not had a dewormer and you've been struggling to put weight on them, or if you've been struggling, like if their coat has been struggling, if they've been scooting on the floor a lot.
You got diarrhea that you cannot get to stop.
Yeah. Any of that stuff, try a natural dewormer, because if you're wrong, you didn't do any harm.
Oh, and like, yeah, between giving them digestive enzymes or pineapple, bromelain, like all this has health benefits. So why not start with something that's healthy for the dog? Because even if it doesn't deworm, you're getting added benefit.
Yeah. So I don't know if we talked about diatomaceous earth much in the last episode, but it was something that I don't know if so for flea and tick, you can use it like topically. So it's gonna basically like cuts the exoskeleton of the little bugs and they dry out. And so that's how it kills them. But there is some holistic people who use it internally.
It's really I'm on the fence with it internally because there's again, you go out down the rabbit hole of the internet searches, and like I actually have a fair amount of books on holistic dogs and stuff, so I'm like reading through today and double checking stuff, and it's kind of almost 50-50 of people that are solid in like this is going to be a natural dewormer with added benefits of getting minerals and trace stuff and whatnot, and super easy to, it's like one quarter of a teaspoon for a small dog up to about 1 teaspoon for dogs up to or over 55 pounds. And you do it for 7 days, and those 7 days will kill what's in the belly at that point. And then you do it for a full month because it's not going to kill the eggs. So you have to basically do a month to catch anything that hatches and creates this inhospitable environment or whatnot. Like it's not entirely clear how it works internally. Like there's also conflicting evidence within this part of the camp, right?
Yeah. So like there's no question on the external parasites.
No question
Everybody
whatsoever.
agrees. Yes, it works fine.
Yes.
And also to point out, we are talking about food grade diatomaceous earth.
Correct.
There are different grades, and other grades are like toxic if inhaled, like they're bad for your lungs, things like that. So make sure.
Even food grade is like you shouldn't be breathing in or getting in eyes and stuff. Like it's still a little exoskeleton finally. But then there's this other half. And granted, the other half generally are conventional vets that are going to put you on a chemical anyway.
Yeah, and I don't think they're necessarily like opposed to diatomaceous earth. It's just like they're used to recommending what they recommend.
Right.
Like this is the atomic bomb to like drop on the fleas.
We know this works.
Yeah.
But even within the more open-minded conventional vet, there's those that are just like, we don't see any studies that show that this work. So it's
on
really
on the internal.
On the internal. Yeah. Everybody agrees on the external usage. You will kill your bugs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gardeners.
Vets, yeah. I've definitely used it in my houseplants.
Yeah, houseplants. I mean, like, it's great to have around for multiple reasons. I have done it with my dogs. I don't remember why exactly I decided. It was like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have worms. And friends' dogs had worms, and maybe I was thinking this would just be like I don't know, just in case they got poop and ate the poop and the poop had the worm. And like, so I was like, we'll just do a natural dewormer and see if anything comes out. Because if you're killing worms and you're deworming, however you're deworming, you're going to see end results.
Yeah.
It's very clear that there's something that's out your dog's in your poop, right? So we didn't have worms, so I can't say
whether it worked or not.
Yeah,
I have never tried it. But yeah, I mean, I do like so many customers who swear by it. Yeah, and so I don't know, like do your own research.
It certainly isn't going to hurt to try, other than you have maybe a delayed month that for some reason you've got too much of a worm load for it to handle.
Yeah.
then maybe that might be also like, oh, it didn't work. Well, maybe you did have to like up the ante on, on what was being used. So it was just interesting going down that rabbit hole of like, people either and some of my go-to holistic vets that I follow and kind of like will look at their blogs. It was there, right next to garlic, which maybe says something for some people. They're like,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, garlic though, like, garlic, I feel like more garlic so is like.
Garlic has benefit.
It does. Yeah. Yep. Another note though, to keep in mind, if your dog or cat are currently on any medications, and like for your natural dewormer and your natural heartworm, just look in to see if there's going to be any medication interactions between those, because some of the heart supporting herbs can interact with other medications that they're on.
Right.
Yeah.
I would consult a holistic vet
if
you want to go this route.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you can have the conversation with your conventional vet, but more than likely the answer will be, I would rather us use this known traditional treatment than, which is funny because it's traditional only in the last, 60 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's become the tradition versus a lot of this has been actual. To me, this is the more traditional method because it's like
hundreds of years.
Actually, so when we were texting earlier, like pomegranate, I was like, that's interesting. And that's like pomegranate seeds have been used since the Egyptians for deworming.
Oh, wow.
So wouldn't that be considered more a traditional dewormer?
It's true. And the Egyptians, like they were using it for themselves probably.
Yeah.
For a dewormer.
Oh, I'm sure the cats too.
They're the cats. Yeah.
I love the cats.
Yeah. That's interesting because don't some of the Farmina foods have pomegranate in them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's no way that they're going to be able to like separate the seed from the pulp.
It would cost twice what it already does.
Yeah, so I'd be
for that extra step of dejuicing.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's like it's probably not enough in there to like really make a difference, but like I mean, it's just a neat thing to know about pomegranates and that like
beyond its overall what we think about its health benefits, but
Mm-hmm.
Now I totally will have to see if my dogs will eat the pomegranate seeds.
Mine loves pomegranate. Yeah.
I rarely buy it. It's a pain to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I do have it, your mouth gets raw if you eat too much. So I always share it. I'm like, one for you, one for me. And then I'm like wondering, I'm like, okay, well, like how much before it irritates her mouth?
Well, that's true.
I don't know. So, but yeah, we share our pomegranates.
I'll have to see.
Like twice a year that I buy them.
Exactly. They're a pain.
Yeah.
They're usually fall in my like it's not worth the effort, even though I know you're so good.
That's true. Yeah.
And then I buy one and it sits on the counter until it shrivels up. It's hard as a rock, and then I compost it. I will make more of an effort this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is all we have to say for now on heartworm and worms and all of the fun, funky, traditional or non-traditional ways to treat them. But yeah, again, always like talk with your vet, a holistic vet, or a veterinary nutritionist if you have any questions, and just make a decision based off of what is going to work for your pet, your lifestyle, that kind of stuff. We're just out here trying to learn, trying to learn and figure it out ourselves because we don't know. Appreciate you watching, and watch out for our next episode, which will be dropping the 1st of what is next month? April.
Yeah.
The 1st of April.
We're barely into March.
Yeah.
Do we know the topic of next?
I don't yet, but I'm open to ideas. So we're open to ideas. So if you guys have any ideas, let us know.